Good morning and welcome back to our IMS Facebook video posts, where I have been taking us on a tour of the Noble Eightfold Path and seeing what the teachings, the Buddha's teachings, might have to say about how we can traverse this difficult time of the pandemic. And currently we are on the wisdom path factors, and currently the wisdom path factor of wise view, which is of two kinds. There's what's called a mundane wise view, which is the wise view into the law of karma, that what we think, say, and do matters to our happiness now and in the future. And then supramundane wise view, and this is the view that ultimately liberates the heart and mind from all that binds it to suffering. And this, of course, is the wise view into the Four Noble Truths. And we've been looking at the first two Noble Truths and how they interact with one another. So the first Noble Truth of dukkha and the second Noble Truth of tanha, or clinging, craving. And just a reminder that when we talk about craving in the Buddha's teachings, we mean the mind that, yes, wants, but also the mind that doesn't want, that says no to experience. And one could look at craving at any time the mind is demanding that life be different than it is in the moment. Basically wanting it to be different, either by saying, I want more or I want less of what's happening. And of course, we know that the cause of dukkha, or of suffering, this first noble truth, is the second noble truth, is craving. The last time we began to explore yet the proximate cause for craving to actually arise in the first place is ignorance of dukkha, is ignoring or not experiencing dukkha. And so this very interesting interplay between these first and second noble truths. And as I mentioned last time, this is why the Buddha said that the first noble truth of dukkha is to be experienced. Because if we're experiencing it, if we are seeing it clearly, we are not ignoring it. And we are not cultivating that condition that is supportive for craving to arise. And just to say that the Buddha, each noble truth has something we're to do with it. And the first noble truth is to be experienced. The second noble truth of craving is to be abandoned. That's how we practice with it. The third noble truth of nibbana, or the ending of suffering, is to be realized. And then the fourth noble truth of the Noble Eightfold Path is to be cultivated. And of course, how we go about this, or the tool that supports all of this happening, is the deepening of mindfulness, the deepening of this ability to be present, know what's happening, and see it clearly. So let's go ahead and do some formal practice, which is designed to do just this. Cultivate our ability to be present, to know what's happening, and to see it clearly for what it is, not what we think it might be or want it to be. You can now settle into whatever posture that you're going to meditate in. The Buddha talked about 4 postures of standing, sitting, walking, and lying down. And I invite you to relax into whatever posture you're taking now to do the formal practice. Really consciously invite the body to soften and relax. Allowing the eyes to be closed softly so that you're not pushing them closed or squinting. And as you are present for the body relaxing, This naturally draws the mind into the body, makes that somatic connection. And we feel the body. We know there is a body here. Whenever we're connected to our body in this way, we are in the present moment. Those two will always, always be together. If you're aware of your body, you are in the present moment. And enjoying giving oneself this time for the body to stop, to come to rest, to relax. And using these physical sensations of the relaxed body sitting as our meditation object. This is what we intend to connect our attention to and to keep our attention connected to the sensations of the body. Not gripping the sensations tightly with our attention, but more like letting the attention rest alongside, just lightly touching these sensations. Lightly touching, yet clearly knowing, that's tingling I feel in my foot, or pulsing in my left arm, or a sense of hardness where my sit bones touch what I'm sitting on, etc. Be open for these sensations to change. The tingling I just felt in my left hand now has kind of subsided, and now I feel it a bit more in my left arm or my right leg, etc. So that we become clear, speaking of clearly seeing, being present and clearly seeing, we become clear that the sensations in our body are constantly changing. That this static noun that we use, the word called body, is anything but static. Pulsing and shimmering, shifting. Just this field of changing sensations that doesn't stay the same for more than 1 millisecond. And you can consciously bring in the sensations of the body breathing into this mix of sensations that are felt. Let the sensations that are particularly associated with the breath mix in and mingle with the sensations that aren't particularly associated with the breath. Like pouring one glass of liquid into another glass. Staying relaxed. Not bearing down with your attention, but relaxing back. Being open. Receiving the sensations of body and breath. As we do this, we cultivate the mind state of mindfulness. That is, the mind knows what's happening. It's connected in the moment. In this case, mindfulness of body and breath, to the sensations of body and breath. And we also, as we do this practice, as we're doing it right now, we cultivate the mind state of wisdom. As we begin to see more clearly the body as it actually is, that perhaps it's not this such a solid, well-defined lump. We start to experience it as a field of changing sensations, where the boundaries are perhaps less defined than we thought they were. Where is the edge of those sensations that you feel? Is it really that distinct? Enjoying the moments of being present, not worrying about the moments you're not. Just being glad that you're back when you wake up from being lost in thought. Connect with the sensations of body and breath, and continue to enjoy being present. Thank you for practicing together. as I mentioned last time we were together, now as you go about your day, notice times when things are unsatisfactory. Again, this truth of dukkha, this first noble truth. Because when we don't notice them, that's when we tend to, like to say, tantrum, the mind tantrums. No, I don't want this, or I want more of this. And in fact, when you notice, when you wake up to yourself, when the mind is wanting or not wanting, go ahead and look. Where's the dukkha that I'm not noticing? Most likely, you'll be able to find it. It'll be right there, because you had been ignoring it up until that moment, and that's why the craving arises. Remember, craving arises dependent on the ignorance of dukkha. So you can play with that today. And it's just so helpful to start to see how things really are. Just like when we were meditating, we start to see how the body actually is, not how we think it is. So just for example, my wife and I have a little trip planned to Cape Cod in July. And, looks like that might not happen, given the conditions that we have. And, again, maybe first knee-jerk response is like, oh, rats, I wish that could happen. I want that to happen. Why does this, so craving arises. But then perhaps there's a little bit more presence in that moment, and we just realize, oh yeah, I don't get to have what I want necessarily. Like, that's not assured. That's not the realm I live in. I don't get to just want something and then expect that automatically it's going to happen. That's not the universe we live in. Oh, right. Okay. Maybe it happens, and great, bonus. But to the degree that we can connect with the truth that, we're not guaranteed that it will happen. It's not like some right that we have that we can demand. That's ignorance. And so to the degree we're on board with, maybe this won't happen, then is to the degree that when it doesn't, we tantrum less. Craving arises less, and we suffer less. That is all. So practice with that today, and we'll be back next time. We're going to move us to the third of the three noble truths, the noble truth of the ending of suffering, and we'll see how we can practice with that. Speaking of practice, I hope your practice serves you well today. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.